Welcome to my opinion weapon reviews. Now, I'm going to be doing a review series where basically I review weapons, but it's going to be based on my opinion. Now, other channels, they review guns based on, the stats, so rate of fire, damage, basically game code stuff. Now with me, I'm going to be reviewing weapons based on my opinion, so my feelings when I use the gun, because it's so random. I always find that certain guns I could just not do well with, but then my friends do well, or they use a certain attachment, and when I use a certain attachment, I get destroyed. So it's going to be funny, and for now, I'm just going to be reviewing the base guns. I might get into variants later, but you know what? Let me just see how the series goes. Let me see, the feedback. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. So guys, hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first weapon we're going to review today is the R3K. Now, another name I like to call it is the R3 Inconsistent K, because this gun is the definition of inconsistent. Well, when I use it, it's like this gun doesn't want to get kills. It's just like, or sometimes maybe one match is like it wrecks, it completely destroys the enemy. And then the next match is like, nah, I don't feel like killing the enemy. I mean, what's the point? I mean, I'm just a gun made by, the developers. I mean, I have no uses, and that's what it feels like. They go 1 minute the gun wants to kill people, 1 minute it doesn't. And sometimes it does that in the middle of the match, one gunfight, you completely wreck. Sometimes I don't even aim for headshots, for example, and I still wreck the enemy, like quick as anything. It's just, I don't like when guns are like this. It's just so weird. Now, in order for this weapon to improve drastically, it needs to do one of two things. Alright, so the first one, it needs to have a TED talk with the old weapons from, like Modern Warfare 2, the burst fire weapons, because those guns were sick. So the first weapon was the M16. Now, this gun was powerful, and yeah, you had stopping power in Modern Warfare 2, but come on, that gun was powerful. Also, the FAMAS, I really love that gun. That's my favourite FAMAS. A lot of people love the Black Ops 1. Nah, it wasn't all that. It was good, but I mean, I'm a burst fire weapon man. I love my burst fire weapons. And also, the Pocket M16, or also known as the R3K. I love the name of it, R3K. But that thing was like the secondaries in Modern Warfare 2 are ridiculous, but that thing behaved better than this R3K. Honestly. So this thing needs to have TED Talks, take notes, prepare yourself, and then you know what, when there's a new update, come out and the R3K should be exactly like those. Or the other option is just make the gun overpowered, just buff it like crazy. Basically, I'm going to show you a clip. I think this is how the R3K should be like. Now this gun needs a buff right now. I'm not even joking. It is purely outclassed by every other gun in this game. At close range, at medium range, and even long range. Now, if you aim correct, this gun correct. But think about it. Any gun can do that. So it needs a buff. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the attachments. Now we're going to go over the sights first, and then we're going to go over the base attachments. So the base R3K, the iron sights look like this. Now, for the most part, it's alright, especially on small maps, but a burst fire gun, you need to be accurate. And if you're not accurate, you're going to die, like, quick. Especially in this game. Now, the problem with this sight, I would say, is that range. Like, especially when people are head glitching, especially on this map. Like, you want to pick them off, you have to aim slightly lower. And because this gun has idle sway, just like with every gun, like, you have to be dead on point. So, small maps, I'd say this is fine, but with me, most of the time I don't use it. On the beta, I used to use a sight because I used to just load it up with like other attachments and then just use the sight because I was fine with it. But especially when more maps dropped, like the long range maps, like Terminal, like you're gonna need a sight on this. That's what I love. I need a sight because if you want to be consistent with this gun, especially with burst fire weapons in general, you need to aim correct. There's no, if you miss a bullet, you're pretty much dead. Now, with the red dot sight, or I would say the blue dot sight, because it's funny how you had to get the blue dot out of the supply drop, but it just helps me even more than the red dot. But yeah, the red dot is perfect for this gun. I love it. Now, even more than the elo, because with the red dot sight, I feel like I'm more accurate, like, because the little bots there, like, wherever the enemy is, you aim with the bots, like, the area, and that's who you go for. But it can be, like, blocks your view a bit, like, not compared to the other sights as much, but, like, especially when you're, say, I had times when I come around the corner, I'm like this, and because, like, the guy's, like, he's in that little part where the bar is, to like the right or the left, and it kind of messes you up, but for the most part, the red dot, I'm so accurate, it doesn't even matter. They're dead by the time they can even, you know, mess around. Okay, so the next site is the scout site. Now, this is like a hybrid site, you can flip between them, and for the most part, this site is really good because, well, from mostly every other gun, I do not use it, it just feels weird, but this gun, like, you need to be able to kill them in long range and close range even more than the other gun. You have to kind of like concentrate more because it's a burst fire weapon. You need your shots on point. Now, the only problem is this gun has idle sway just like the other guns, but it has more than like the MV4, for example. It's just like where the gun should excel, it's a burst fire weapon. You need to be more accurate, and even if the idle sway was like more, but the damage was great, I think that would be great. But you know what, it's not like this. So with this sight, it's good, I love it, but then there's so many situations where like I have to concentrate to try and switch. So if I'm about to, okay, look, say I'm here and it's got, oh, you know, I need to go long range, I have to switch, and then you think it would be like that, like you just switch on the fly, you know what situations, but this game is so crazy. People jump out of nowhere, but by the time you switch or just feel like, oh, I need to get there, you're dead. Or maybe that's just me, especially with this gun. Other guns you can kind of, alright, if someone's at close range you can spray them or get lucky. With this gun, most of the time, no, that's not how it's going to happen. You're going to be dead. Okay, so the next site is the Trojan site. Now, this is like the Black Ops 2 target finder / the MS site. So you know when you scan people, you can see through walls. Now this one you can't see through walls, but it highlights people. Whenever you see them in your field of view, it highlights them. So it highlights them yellow, and it's like yellowy green. Now, for the most part, it's great, especially at range. You can see people, you know where they are. But with this gun, you need to be dead accurate. Now, it helps in a way because the whole body's highlighted. But when there's more than one person, like with this, look at the lines moving. It can just cluster. It clusters it up. It's hard to see, and for a burst fire weapon, as I said before, you really need to be on point, and it's just when people are moving around, especially on this map, it can mess you up. It really can. But yeah, I would say it's alright, but really I don't use it on this gun. I use it on the Type 2 and I use it on the Titan, really, because those guns you spray and it helps so much when I'm actually like at longer ranges. I managed to still get the kill, so it's pretty good. So the next site is the VMC site. Now this is like, basically, if you don't like the other sites like the scout site and you want more of a red dot feel, this is the site for you. So look at the normal site, it feels like a red dot, but you can also zoom like the scout site, and it's a good thing because you start off with this. With the other site, you start off with that long range sight, and I would say this one's better. It just is, like, it's more clear. The yellow dot also helps. I actually like the yellow dot. And the good thing is you don't have to open supply drops to get it. The dot, you know, is free. But yeah, $3.99. But yeah, it is great. But also, just with this gun, I just find I get tunnel vision, just like with the scout sight, especially on certain maps. Like, just switching, like, I have to concentrate more, you know, when, alright, cool, here I'm at long range, I switch, because, you know, maps like this, there's always someone here, so I get ready to switch like that, and then when I'm on the fly, try and move, and because I'm just micromanaging the gun, I don't know, like, it can mess me up a bit. But I suppose if you're good with switching and you know, like, the lines of sight, so especially if I'm here, you have to, like, you pretty much have to, it just helps so much. But yeah, this is a great site. I used to use it a lot, but not so much, especially in the beta. I use this, but not so much now. For me, it's the red dot sight and the elo. I love those two, and the scout sight, I'd say, because I like the range you get with it. Okay, so if you're feeling wacky, the thermal sight. Now, I like the thermal sight, not so much in this gun because just how accurate you have to be. Like, it does highlight them like bright red, but you know what, like, you need to get your bullets on point, and especially when people are jumping around like wall running like this and over here and all that, especially on this map. Like, it kind of messes me up more because like you're following the red like outline, and because they're moving fast, it's like, whoa, what am I doing? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're trying to keep up with them and dead. Especially with this gun, I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. Now the elo sight, now this is probably everyone's favorite, but with this gun it kind of messes me up because it's so open. The field of view is so open, and because, as I said again, you need to be accurate with a burst fire weapon, sometimes it keeps me like it's just hard to aim because people are here. I kind of overshoot my target, which is, it's kind of weird, but yeah, I just kind of overshoot it because the field is so wide. So elo is good, but for me, with this gun, not so much. Going to talk about the gun attachments. Now, the first attachment is the foregrip. Now, to be honest, this thing didn't really have recoil, but the foregrip does help in a way, but to be honest, I don't think it's needed. When I use it, it's really not needed. The only thing that messes me up with this gun is the actual sway of the gun. Like, look, it's going in circles now. Look, the actual sway, and look, it just starts moving around. So especially when you're trying to be accurate, foregrip just helps the actual vertical recoil, so you know when the gun kicks up. And for the most part, it doesn't really kick up, so honestly guys, I'm fine without it. Okay, so the next attachment is Quickdraw. Now, in this game, Quickdraw is one of the attachments I need. Like, it has to be on my gun classes. Like, look how quick you aim. And in this game, people just rush. Yeah, there's campers, but I mean, people will rush all the time, and just how crazy it is where people will run it, jumping around the corner, and then boom. Like, you need to be quick, and with this gun especially, there are times where, you know, I run around the corner, someone pops there, they jump around, and I'm like, whoa, and I quickly turn, aim, and they're dead. You need to do that. You need quick draw. With me, it's a must. I have to have it. If I don't have it, I die all the time. So I need it on any class, so it's a recommended attachment for me. Okay, so the next attachment is the fusion mag. Now, it depends on your play style with the fusion mag, but like, the good thing about it, look, it recharges your ammo at the bottom. Now, it doesn't take it from your reserve ammo like the energy weapons normally do. So if you're planning on going long streaks and, you know, just surviving, this is the attachment for you. Now, I don't use it much because I have scavenger on all my classes. It's a must for me. It's my top 3 perks. I have to have engineer and ghost. Engineer because I can see the whole map, I can see equipment, I know when someone's coming around the corner. There are no surprises when I have engineer. I know where the warden is in the sky, I know where everything is. I feel like a god. You can see everything. Nothing surprises you when you have engineer, honestly. It doesn't. But yeah, fusion mag depends on your type of playstyle. Me, I'm a slow defensive player. I'm a tactical positioner. Some people call it campers, but I mean, that's for a different story. That's another video. But yeah, fusion mag, I don't really use it. I use it on the beta because I didn't have scavenger unlocked, and it does help. You don't have to worry about your ammo, and constantly, every time you're waiting, you could be like, the thing is, you could be, there's so many times where I'm in gunfights and I've shot someone, they hide off, and look, I'm waiting here, my ammo's still regenerating. It doesn't matter, I can wait here all day. I've got my campfire here, I've got my little can of beans. Is that can of beans? I don't know what, that's a lie, but pretty much I'm here and my ammo's going up, so it really doesn't matter if you want to, you know, jump out. So that's what I love about it. Okay, so the next attachment is the suppressor or the silencer. Now, the silencer is my favorite attachment at any COD because it keeps you off the radar. Now, there are attachments to, you know, counter that. In this game, I don't think there is. I know in Advanced Warfare there was that parabolic microphone so people could tell, but most time there's no counter to this weapon. And with this gun, it's a hit or miss. It's just so inconsistent with this, especially. And to be honest, I've just tried to like stop using suppressor on this gun now, even though I want to, because I get paranoid when I'm not using suppressor. Like, you shoot and then people are all coming for you. Like, especially with the teams, you shoot once and then, oh, there's one there, oh, there's one there, oh my god, I'm dead, I'm gonna hide. You know, it's like that. If you're playing on real small maps, you can kind of get away with it because they have to get to you first, and if you're using the right, you know, gun and like setup and position, there's nothing they can do. But for the most part, this one I get more hit markers, and it does shorten your one burst range, and to be able to one burst someone with a burst fire weapon is always fun. So slowly I've stopped using this, but you still need it, especially when you're going against teams or just people. You actually need a suppressor, so it can be annoying. So the nets attachment, now this is particle amp. Now this extends your range of the gun, so I've been using it a lot more now, and you know what, this is an excellent attachment. I love this now because it extends my one shot kill range, my one burst kill range. I mean, you can still one burst people from long range, and it's so good. Like, it's just, I can't tell you how good it is. It's like stopping power. Well, it's not that good, you know, from Modern Warfare 2, but the ranges I've been one bursting people, I'm like, what? Like, huh? I'm like, what? Like, that, did that happen? Like, you just got deleted. And it's still inconsistent because sometimes I'm like pretty much at the same range. I shoot and I stop firing. I'm just like, you know, I kick back, put the kettle on, I'm just, and I'm like, well, they're not dead and they kill me. Well, there's times where I'm still shooting, thinking that, you know, they're going to survive it, and then they don't. I'm just there like, did I do that? Did I actually do that? Like, wow. So yeah, it's just weird. So the next attachment is stock. Now I need stock. Stock makes you move like faster when you're strafing. Now for this gun I need it because when you don't have it, you feel like you're stuck in the mud. And with this gun, like, you want to be able to boom, burst. You know what, you burst someone, and with these dirty angles, when you come out one shot and come back in, you can't fight against burst fire weapons if they're already pre-aimed. And you need to be pre-aimed with this gun, especially when you come around corners. You don't want to have to go, you want to be able to, like, you know, glide around the corner, get a few shots, glide back. And especially with this gun, it helps. It seems unfair sometimes, honestly. It seems so unfair when I just come around the corner and I one burst you and come back. But this gun's so inconsistent that it doesn't happen a lot. Like, it happens one moment, it doesn't happen the next. It's just weird. The gun just doesn't want to do well. I think it just doesn't feel like playing. So next attachment is the laser sight. Now I don't know why you're putting the laser sight in the R3K. I don't know, maybe you mean smoking something. Burst fire weapons, they're not good at hip firing. It just ties it up. But still, like, it's more of a random thing. You know, it's just like, I don't think I've ever seen, well, personally I don't see anyone use the R3K, but they don't use the laser sight, and I don't think you should, and I do not, because why am I gonna burst fire this? I mean, it's rubbish anyway. Like, the hip fire's wide anyway, it doesn't really help it much. Oh yeah, when you're close range, but then that's when you normally use a burst, I mean not burst fire, hip fire. Like when you're in desperation, like someone's here, you're like whoa, and you have time to aim and you just spray anyway. And most time I get the kills with this gun, probably not, but yeah, you're gonna be in desperation anyway using it. So okay, so the next attachment is a RAM servo. Now this attachment allows it to bounce 2 times off a wall. So look, normally when you shoot energy weapons, they bounce off the wall once, but this one allows it to like burst 2 times. So look, when it, look, so if you guys can see, look, it bounces off and it hits another surface and it flings off. So basically in certain maps where there's like a small hallway, if you can, I've never used this so I don't really know, but I've heard that people, you know, can bounce it off and it reflects and kills some people. Now the damage does get lower, but still I suppose it's a bonus, and I might start using it on like Frontier, you know, that space map I showed you, because it can just fly up everywhere and like no one's safe pretty much. Okay, and the last attachment is the Faraday Slug. Now if you aim for the head, you can wreck people. That's pretty much what the attachment does. It's like high caliber. So on Black Ops 3 I use that a lot, especially on the Shiva. It was unfair, you can just 2-shot people with the headshot, but if you aim correct, that's how a gun should be. That's how the R3K should be. You aim correct, they're dead. But even when you aim correct, NV4 users, any type of gun, just destroys you. It does. So guys, that has been my review of the R3 Inconsistent K. Now guys, let me hear your feedback. I want to hear like whether you like the R3K, whether you dislike it. In my opinion, it needs a buff badly. It sways so much, the damage is not good, and it's just inconsistent. And with basically, I think that burst fire weapons, they should reward the player for being accurate. The burst fire may be a bit slow, but it should have good damage. It should be like the other guns in Call of Duty. Now, not overpowered like the the MSBS and the M16. The MSBS that even had BS in its name, but it should reward the player, and it should still be able to compete with fire rate and damage.